She's coming. When I turn on the lights, yell surprise. Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Surprise!
Can't connect to internet.
It's so dark. Who's here? Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Can't connect to internet.
Ugh, the assistant's in a dead zone. It doesn't always connect.
We're all here, dear.
We got you a chocolate cake, but we can't pass you a knife in the dark.
Your home is only as smart as your internet. Get fast, seamless wall-to-wall coverage and reduce dead zones with AT&T Internet with smart Wi-Fi technology. Switch to AT&T Fiber. Sign up at att.com/fiber300 and get faster upload speeds of up to 300 megabits per second for $40 a month for 12 months. Limited availability. May not be in your area. Check eligibility at att.com/fiber300. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. Ends 8/17/19. AT&T Wi-Fi gateway and smart Wi-Fi technology included with plans 12 megabits or higher. Extenders may be required and sold separately. New residential customers in select markets only. Requires 12-month agreement. Includes Internet 300 when bundled with other qualifying minimum $19 per month service on one bill. Early termination, taxes, other charges, and restrictions apply. Speeds vary, not guaranteed.
She's coming. When I turn on the lights, yell surprise. Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Surprise!
Can't connect to internet.
It's so dark. Who's here? Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Can't connect to internet.
Ugh, the assistant's in a dead zone. It doesn't always connect.
We're all here, dear.
We got you a chocolate cake, but we can't pass you a knife in the dark.
Your home is only as smart as your internet. Get fast, seamless wall-to-wall coverage and reduce dead zones with AT&T Internet with smart Wi-Fi technology. Switch to AT&T Fiber. Sign up at att.com/fiber300 and get faster upload speeds of up to 300 megabits per second for $40 a month for 12 months. Limited availability. May not be in your area. Check eligibility at att.com/fiber300. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. Ends 8/17/19. AT&T Wi-Fi gateway and smart Wi-Fi technology included with plans 12 megabits or higher. Extenders may be required and sold separately. New residential customers in select markets only. Requires 12-month agreement. Includes Internet 300 when bundled with other qualifying minimum $19 per month service on one bill. Early termination, taxes, other charges, and restrictions apply. Speeds vary, not guaranteed.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. Who is that doing the intro, Ed? It's the regular intro we always have. Oh, that's James Arthur Jancic. Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I am your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. And this show is brought to you by emailrevealer.com. You can go to emailrevealer.com and get a copy of my book. And by the way, we got very few copies left, so pick them up before this version of the book will be gone forever. Okay, get a copy of the book, How to Succeed as a Private Investigator, which in the first portion has a little biography of my life, some stuff that we haven't talked about on the air. Also, too, don't forget the Opperman Report members section. That's how we support things around here. That's how we keep the show alive. You know, when you look at all the numbers of people downloading the show, we're about to hit 500,000 downloads on Spreaker alone. We're already at 250,000 plays on YouTube, and that's the most recent YouTube channel. The old one we had that went down had 300,000 on it. So, you know, all these people, listen to the show. You think we get some people, subscribing at the members section to keep the show alive, but it's not like I'm complaining, right? I wouldn't complain to you. No, it's the least of it. I could never expect me to complain. It would never happen. One more thing. I have an urgent plea for you. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm taking the first phone call from Reverend Ed Pinkney from prison. He has a court date this Wednesday, and he's going to be calling me up from prison. We have to do things a little bit differently now because the way we were taking the calls previously, he got in trouble for that because he was using like a 3-way call. I don't know what the details were. Don't quote me on that. But this time, in order for me to take the call, I got to put some money on the account in order to take the call. And I'll be honest with you, I'm overdrawn my debit card. So if we could, it's going to be difficult for us to pull this off in the morning before this is done. So we have an urgent plea for you tonight to get some PayPal to us at oppermanreport@gmail.com. You can send me a little PayPal. We need about $60, to pull this off. Because I got to put 25 in there, and I'm about 40 overdrawn. So, anyway, see what we can do there for us here to help us out. And I already talked to Vic about it, and she doesn't care if we're a little bit broke this week and we have to support, because she loves Reverend Pink. See somebody in prison, guys in prison, you got to take the call. You just nothing. You can't. I've never declined a phone call from prison or jail. So, anyway. One more little announcement, and then we'll get right to work here. One more little announcement is that in October, I will be doing a seminar, a presentation at a seminar in Seattle, Washington. The Pacific Northwest, they like to call it. Coffee country there, but in Seattle. And I'm going to be up there with David Schurter and with Fiona Barrett. And I'm going to be doing my own. They're going to be doing presentations. I'm going to do a presentation. Then I'm going to be on a panel with them. And then there's another conference up there at the same time in the same hotel. And I'm going to be doing a presentation over there as well. So check that out. You can get your tickets. I don't know how you could find this. I don't have the link. I've been scrambling around trying to get stuff done before the show today. But if you just Google, I'm sure if you Google... or you contact David Schurter and find him on his Down the Rabbit Hole website. I'm sure he'll have details on it. Maybe someone in the chat room can go to David Schurter's website and come up with the details for us on that before the show is over. So thank you very much. Tomorrow on American Freedom Radio and People's Internet Radio and PSN and Awake Network at 5 p.m. we are having... a show about the kind of sad, but we're doing a show about the Atlanta child murders with a new guest. I forget her name, but she has some different. And I think her book is called Ghost Killer, something like that. Anyway, so she's coming on, and we're going to have a little fresh perspective to the Atlanta child murder case. So that's that. Okay, all right. Okay, show over yet? No, not yet. Got another 54 minutes to go. I could do it. All right, so last week, very popular, well, I don't know if you call it popular, but very controversial, I guess you might say is the word, controversial after show I did about Agenda 21. And got a lot of response, as usual. I want to thank you for all the YouTube videos everybody sent me about Agenda 21. Okay, but it misses the point. By the way, too, I've watched all. By now, I have watched all those videos. I've watched them all. What I'm looking for is something that's actually in the UN resolution. Okay, that you're complaining about. Okay. It seems to be that the theory out there is that now suddenly, after you've known me for 3 years, that I'm in favor of a one world government and Bernie Sanders communist control of the government, and at the same time corporation control of the government. I'm hearing also as well. So you guys got to get your story together. What you're going to be attacking me with here, and come to your situation there. Now, one thing I want to make clear is I'm not afraid to express my opinions or tell you what I'm thinking, even if it's not a popular opinion. So if I did want a one world government, or I wanted to NWO in power, I wanted corporations, I would say that, okay? As it is now, my opinions are not that popular, okay? So I have no problem expressing what I really believe. So please don't go looking for hidden agendas or hidden meanings in what I'm trying to tell you here, what I talk about. I did a show. Guy was talking about chemtrails and Walmart tunnels and all this kind of stuff like that. And he says, it's in Agenda 21. Look it up. And I said, you know what? I better look this thing up. Let's take a look, see what's in there. I looked. None of that stuff is in there. Okay? Now, if there's something about Agenda 21 that upsets you, okay, that's actually in there, send it to me, and I'll change if it's in there, and we can both agree there's something wrong with it, I'm open to that, and I'm fine with that. But sending me these YouTube videos that I've seen already, that's not helping the matter at all, okay? Okay. Just to make clear, okay, There's nothing in there about population control. There's nothing in there about moving people from rural areas to prison cities. None of that stuff is in there. Eminent domain, taking property, none of that stuff is in there. Okay, drones spying on people. Absolutely nothing about depopulation. Nothing about all this stuff. And then people say, well, Ed, you're creating a straw man argument by saying that the Walmart tunnels and all this kind of stuff. No, if you Google Agenda 21, half the things that are going to come up mention FEMA camps and Walmart tunnels and all this stuff like that, and chemtrails. So, and also, too, pay close attention, okay? Don't tell me look up in the sky and see the chemtrails. I have said myself those very similar words, that when I look up in the sky today, it's not the same sky that I saw when I was a kid growing up. I just don't know what they are, and neither do you, okay? Unless you're part of this program to do this stuff. So what's in those contrails or chemtrails? I don't know what's in them. You don't know either. Okay. Hey, God, Zooks. 10 minutes. I'm already upset. Kathy O'Brien. We had Kathy O'Brien and Mark Phillip on a show Saturday evening. Another very popular, controversial show. Now, it seems to me that people... whatever their preconceived opinions about that story was, whatever they went into, they came out with. I don't think we changed any minds. But there was this kind of an attitude from people that if they don't believe the story, then they say, oh, Ed, good for you for prosecuting them, for being a prosecutor, cross-examining them, grilling them, and all that kind of stuff. And that is not my intention, to grill anybody or be argumentative with anybody. But I ask a question, and I expect an answer to the question that I asked. And if I don't get that, I get a little frustrated toward the end. If you ask somebody a question, hey, tell us about yourself, and they start talking about Nazis, and they start talking about how the brain function works and Project Paperclip and all, that's not, hey, tell me, who's Ed Opperman. I tell you who I am. I'm a dad. I'm a private investigator. I do this. Oh, I live in Henderson, Nevada. 50 years old. I'm sort of a vegan, not by choice, but I have to be. I like to the debates with my kids. Debates. Coach basketball. I love to. That's what you want to expect to hear something like that. Not, hey, Ed, let me tell you about the Nazis. Let me tell you about how the brain functions. So. I'm not going to forget the question that I ask you, okay? Because a lot of times I'll write it down in front of me, waiting for the answer. Now, to give them the benefit of the doubt, I've done a lot of interviews where I just coasted through the interview, just tell my old stories, old war stories that I got memorized. I told 1,000 times, which may be what they expected to do. From our conversations before the show, I don't think so. Or they were just puffing me up or what, I don't know. But... to give them the benefit of the doubt, they might have just been coasting through the interview and, they weren't paying attention to the questions. I don't know. And for people who think that I was attacking them or cross-examining them or grilling them like an attorney, I didn't mean to do that. But the thing is, and I've been ambushed in interviews, okay? When during the Sarah Palin thing, I would do interviews on the radio in Alaska, and I've been ambushed where they had staged callers, calling in and stuff like that. But if you have an experience, if you have a personal experience, and you want to present that to the audience, it doesn't matter what the questions are and who's grilling you. You should be able to get that story across. So, another thing that disturbed me about that interview was when Kathy O'Brien started saying that, and by the way, they're welcome to come back. They're perfectly welcome. I would love to get in there and hash out the story some more, get some more details. I asked her a question like, hey, describe what happened when they're playing this most dangerous game. And she'll start saying, the president, the president isn't elected, he's selected. It's picked by people. Your vote doesn't count. Okay? And a lot of people say that. Okay? I was even talking to Ward Churchill about that today. But that's not my personal experience, okay? Having dealt with several presidential candidates, Lieberman, Giuliani, the Sarah Palin situation, having been friends with a guy in New York who was a major state campaign finance chairman. So all these people I've met and talked to over the years. My brother, when you read about this thing about this bond trading down there in Puerto Rico, that was my brother's business. He was a bond trader in Puerto Rico for Merrill Lynch in the 80s. And he knew all those guys in the Reagan White House, Deaver and Meese and Reagan. They were all out of Merrill Lynch. He knew all of them. We had connections in the White House. So in my personal experience, okay, and since doing this show, I've talked to K Street lobbyists. I've talked to people that worked in the Clinton. I spoke to people that slept with Clinton. Okay, people that worked in the Obama White House, and from the people that are really there, you never hear that stuff. You only hear it from these people, again, who want to send me a YouTube video and tell me how the world works. So what I'm telling you, even before having watched those YouTube videos and after watching them and my experience in life, this is what I believe. Okay. All right. One more thing. Back to Kathy O'Brien real quick. It seems that some people's opinion, too, and this is not to attack their story and not to attack them, okay? And if they're on the air, I'll ask them the questions. I'm bringing them right now. But one thing is, one version of people's theory seems to be that, well, he was CIA, and he's still CIA, and now he's her handler. That she was actually went through all this stuff, but he's her CIA handler. Well, first of all, if you look at the website, he doesn't say he was CIA. He kind of said it on the show, and he said it another time in an old video I saw, a conference he did. But on the website, he said that he worked for a DOD subcontractor. Okay? Now, and who was even to say that even that's real? Has anybody checked that? Just because you hear these people on alternative media and these people floating around at these conferences and stuff like that who love to tell you about their intelligence backgrounds and stuff, a lot of times I'm very unimpressed with that, Just from working in the past 10, 13, and well, God, time's going on. So the past 16 years, as a private investigator doing cyber stalking investigations. All right, a little bit longer, I guess, about 18 years. Tracing emails, catfish investigations, that kind of stuff. People they want to believe that their stalker is deep intel, ex-CIA, or he's in the government, he's some kind of deep cover, whatever. And they build him up as something bigger than they think than he really is in real life. When you find out that they never really are. And it's the same thing here in alternative media with people claiming to have these backgrounds, and it's always because I've met people, real CIA agents. You go to these PI conventions, and I've been going to them for years. And you meet people who worked. The guy I worked for in Brooklyn was a former Defense Intelligence Agency. Okay? And, he didn't have any knowledge of underground bases or anything, Hitman or none of the secret tunnels and jump rooms to Mars and mind control programs, none of this stuff. And I would spend a lot of time with them. And then you meet other people along the way, your life, And even at these conventions, you're hanging out at the bar, you're getting drunk. Because I taught a class one time. Everybody was trying to impress me with their stories, and still no one's telling me this stuff off the world, bases on the moon, So it seems like all the hitman and the off-world moon base guys, they go straight to get an internet radio show or become a guest on an internet radio show. Like that's, and also too, another thing you got to think about. If you really worked, even for a contractor, okay, if you were some kind of subcontractor, you could easily get a PI license and put that in your Yellow Pages ad, and you get a ton of work. And word would get around, with the lawyers. You'd get a ton of work with that kind of real legitimate background. Oh, yeah. All right, I guess we're getting toward the end of that. Okay, so tonight's topic is, and one more little complaint, then we'll move on to tonight's topic, is people who listen to this on YouTube, and because tonight's title is Craft International. So they see that and they'll say, wow, he didn't get into Craft International until 20 minutes into the show. Okay, all right, because it's not a YouTube show. It's not some YouTube show where someone goes and they can just give you any amount of time that they want. This is a live radio show on 7 stations right now, okay? Live radio show. And I got to fill 1 hour, okay, for this segment of the show. So I don't have the luxury of doing 20 minutes on Craft International and then just going to bed and put up a YouTube channel. All right. Now you got me. Now, man. All right, let's just go on.
She's coming. When I turn on the lights, yell surprise. Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Surprise!
Can't connect to internet.
It's so dark. Who's here? Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Can't connect to internet.
Ugh, the assistant's in a dead zone. It doesn't always connect.
We're all here, dear.
We got you a chocolate cake, but we can't pass you a knife in the dark.
Your home is only as smart as your internet. Get fast, seamless wall-to-wall coverage and reduce dead zones with AT&T Internet with smart Wi-Fi technology. Switch to AT&T Fiber. Sign up at att.com/fiber300 and get faster upload speeds of up to 300 megabits per second for $40 a month for 12 months. Limited availability may not be in your area. Check eligibility at att.com/fiber300. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. Ends 8/17/19. AT&T Wi-Fi gateway and smart Wi-Fi technology included with plans 12 megabits or higher. Extenders may be required and sold separately. New residential customers in select markets only. Requires 12-month agreement. Includes Internet 300 when bundled with other qualifying minimum $19 per month service on one bill. Early termination, taxes, other charges, and restrictions apply. Speeds vary, not guaranteed.
Here it comes again. Lunch. Will it be the same old, same old? Or are you ready to take a vacation from the ordinary with the new Jamaican Jerk Turkey Sub at Firehouse Subs? Freshly sliced smoked turkey breast, craveably sweet mustard sauce, and a hint of Caribbean seasoning. Just $5.55 for a medium. Save time. Order the new Jamaican Jerk Turkey Sub on the Firehouse Subs app. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs. Save more lives. Participating locations. Limited time only, plus tax. Prices may vary for delivery.
Okay. I feel better. Craft International. Okay. Now, the first thing is, why do we even care about Craft International? How did Craft International come into the public discussion? Okay. And this is because the day of the Boston bombings, right, people saw some photos right away were published of these civilian contractor type guys wearing khaki pants and black shirts and hats, baseball caps. And people saw them and right away they said, oh, look at it. This is Blackwater. Those are Blackwater guys. Look at the hat. That's the Blackwater logo. I remember this. I remember watching all this live on Facebook, as this was going, back and forth, people having this discussion. These great investigators. So someone recognized the Kraft logo on one of the hats. Okay? And he says, oh, no. That's not Blackwater. That's Kraft. That's The Kraft. The website used to be called The Kraft or Kraft International LLC. And then everyone started saying, well, Kraft is just like Blackwater. Or it's the new Blackwater. Blackwater went out of business and Kraft took over. Right? And all this kind of stuff like that. As if Craft International was also a civilian contractor, mercenary type company that provided bodyguard services and stuff like that, like Blackwater does. Okay? Or Blackwater did. Blackwater's no longer in business either. They have a different name. The guy who founded it sold out to a venture capital company. Now it's widely international. It's a huge company. Okay. Now, as far as Kraft being at the Boston bombing, that's been researched to death, okay? And there are several excellent presentations available on the internet that these guys in these tan pants, the khaki pants and the black shirts, were not any type of mercenaries at all, but were in fact the National Guard, okay, called the Civil Support Teams, the CST. And there's even a statement you can find online from the Massachusetts and New York National Guards that they deployed their support teams, their civilian support teams, these CST guys, to the marathon. Okay? There are many, many, many credible presentations on the internet where you can look it up. Now, in researching craft, I did some research on the Boston bombing stuff, and I discovered, I've noticed, that there was and there has been a purposeful attempt to misinform the public by taking large pictures of these CST guys running around with their backpacks after the bombing and talking into their headsets, their little microphones. And what people have done is they've taken those larger pictures and they've cut them into portions to make it look like these were pictures first before the bombings carrying their backpacks and then after the bombings running away when they don't have their backpacks. But all of those pictures were after the bombing, the ones with the backpacks and the ones after the ones without the backpacks. So that's something to consider, that there's an element out there that is purposely trying to put out disinformation about those sequence of those pictures, because all those pictures are from after the bombing. None of them are from before the bombing. Now, so that's kind of interesting. Like, why they want to mislead us about that? You know, just to get clicks and sell YouTube hits, you know, or you know, to sell commercials on these bigger radio shows, you know, get people to tune in. Now, Kraft, who are they and what are they? Are they a mercenary company doing security work, doing contracting, civilian contracting work overseas, you know, doing bodyguard work, doing operations? You do ops, black ops, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, okay, I looked into it. Now, they're no longer in business right now. They went bankrupt. It was founded in Dallas, Texas by Chris Kyle, another guy named Mark Spicer, Steve Young, Bo French was like a venture capitalist kind of guy, and another guy, Robert Dunbar. It seems that Chris Kyle and Mark Spicer were both, military guys, Navy SEALs. Now, Chris Kyle was the Navy SEAL guy from the movie American Sniper. Okay? And he was allegedly, when he was over there in Afghanistan and Iraq and stuff, had a record number of kills. But there's even some controversy over that because of the way they count the kills, and there has to be a witness and how they're recorded. So even the Navy SEALs does not officially say, yeah, this guy's the world record holder, you know, because they're not all like confirmed kills. So the guy is a self-promoter, okay? He was a self-promoter when he was over there working for the SEALs, trying to make a name for himself, to be the record holder. He gets out, he comes back, gets a book deal. Not every guy gets a book deal. You know, only people that want to promote themselves get a book deal. He also founded a charity that would provide workout equipment to vets, part of some kind of PSTT training, recovery. There's been a number of stories in the book that have been proven false in court, okay? One was that he had a fist fight with Jesse Ventura. There's another one where he claimed that he was the victim of a carjacking and he shot and killed the guy. And when the police showed up, He says, I'm Chris Carl, I'm a sniper and Navy SEALs. You guys handle it from here. And he just left and walked away. It's just ridiculous on its face. But he told that story. I think that story's in the book. Now, when Kraft was founded in Dallas, Texas in 2009, this is right after he got back from overseas there, it was a tactical training company. They didn't provide any kind of security services, any bodyguard services, overseas contracting work. Nope, they have no PI license. There's no PI work. Firearm sales, they don't even have an FFL license. Okay, to sell firearms, although they were selling ammo. They did not employ or deploy any subcontractors as anything that can be interpreted as mercenary work. Okay? This is not a large company in any way. It was Chris Kyle and a couple of his buddies who started this company. It was run out of one of those virtual offices. Okay? Blackwater, when Blackwater started, they had 7,000 acres. Okay? You know what I mean? It's a whole different kind of, for people to say it's just like Blackwater, the same thing as, or the new Blackwater, they took over for Blackwater. This is insanity. Blackwater, they get contracts. It's $250 million contract for this, $90 million contract for that. Okay? This is big business. Okay? Whole nother level, whole nother world. Okay? Then this, what do you call this? Kraft International. Okay, let's take a commercial break here. And I'm going to be right back after these messages with more wonderful information for you. This is your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. And if you're enjoying this show right now, there's more. You can get more. You can go to the Ed Opperman YouTube channel, and you could subscribe there. And we have archives of all of our past shows for over the past 3 years, about 200, 300 shows. You can also go to the Opperman Report Spreaker channel, and you could follow us there. Again, a ton of shows, about 300 shows on there. And whenever we do an impromptu show, an emergency type broadcast that we do during the week occasionally, you'll get an email notifying you of breaking news and spontaneous broadcasts that we may do during the week. You can also go to OppermanReport.com and become a member. If you become a member, you help support the free archives on Spreaker and YouTube, and you help support the free shows on Friday evening and on Saturday evening. Each of these shows, Friday evening and Saturday evening, are carried for free on 7 internet stations, okay? So you help support that, but also, too, at OppermanReport.com in the members section, we have exclusive content. Shows that are recorded during the week that are only available to members. So please check out OppermanReport.com and help support the show.
The son of a Polish immigrant who grew up in a Brooklyn tenement, Bernie Sanders. He went to public schools, then college, where the work of his life began, fighting injustice and inequality, speaking truth to power. Bernie moved to Vermont, won election and praise as one of America's best mayors. In Congress, Bernie stood up for working families and for principle, opposing the Iraq War, supporting veterans. Now he's taking on Wall Street and a corrupt political system that holds up a rigged economy. Bernie's campaign is funded by over 1 million small contributions from people like you. He's fighting for living wages, equal pay, and tuition-free public colleges. Bernie Sanders.
People are sick and tired of establishment politics, and they want real change.
Bernie Sanders. Husband, father, grandfather. An honest leader. Building a movement with you to give us a future to believe in.
I'm Bernie Sanders, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Bernie 2016.
Check out strawmanmusic.com. Sean Duff is our webmaster here at the Opperman Report, and he's a very talented musician. He's part of a band called Strawman. They're based up there in Canada. Don't hold that against them. These are like-minded folks. If you like the shows you hear on the Opperman Report, you'll like the music that they have over at strawmanmusic.com.
Enough is enough.
Wall Street's greed and illegal behavior drove this country into the worst economic downturn since the 1930s. And then, after getting a huge taxpayer bailout because they were too big to fail, it turns out that 3 out of the 4 largest banks are bigger today than they were before we bailed them out. That's crazy. I'm Bernie Sanders. My plan: break up the big banks who are strangling our economy and make them pay their fair share of taxes. Then we can invest in the middle class, expand Social Security, and provide universal college education. I'll rein in Wall Street behavior so they can't crash our economy again. Will they like me? No. Will they begin to play by the rules if I'm president? You better believe it. I'm Bernie Sanders, Democratic candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Bernie 2016.
You know, you can get a copy of my book, How to Succeed as a Private Investigator, if you go to my website, emailrevealer.com. Now, this is a limited edition book, okay? And you can get a signed copy of this book, and it'll be personally autographed to you or whoever you want to give the book to as a gift. Once you have my signature on that book, you can copy the signature and put it on checks and pass them all over the world. Emailrevealer.com. Get a copy of my book, How to Succeed as a Private Investigator.
He's fought injustice and inequality his whole life. Bernie Sanders. As a college student, he was arrested for challenging segregated housing. Bernie marched with Dr. King and thousands of others for civil rights. In Congress, Bernie stood up for working families on health care and jobs. Now he's taking on Wall Street banks and a corrupt political system that keeps in place a rigged economy. Bernie Sanders, a reformer who believes in ending racial profiling and mass incarceration so the justice system works for everyone. Bernie Sanders.
There is no president who will fight harder to end institutional racism and reform our broken criminal justice system.
Bernie Sanders, an honest leader building a movement with you to give us a future to believe in.
I'm Bernie Sanders, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Bernie 2016.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. Today is May 6th, 2016. And this...
She's coming. When I turn on the lights, yell surprise. Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Surprise!
Can't connect to internet.
It's so dark. Who's here? Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Can't connect to internet.
Ugh, the assistant's in a dead zone. It doesn't always connect.
We're all here, dear.
We got you a chocolate cake, but we can't pass you a knife in the dark.
Your home is only as smart as your internet. Get fast, seamless wall-to-wall coverage and reduce dead zones with AT&T Internet with smart Wi-Fi technology. Switch to AT&T Fiber. Sign up at att.com/fiber300 and get faster upload speeds of up to 300 megabits per second for $40 a month for 12 months. Limited availability may not be in your area. Check eligibility at att.com/fiber300. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. Ends 8/17/19. AT&T Wi-Fi gateway and smart Wi-Fi technology included with plans 12 megabits or higher. Extenders may be required and sold separately. New residential customers in select markets only. Requires 12-month agreement. Includes Internet 300 when bundled with other qualifying minimum $19 per month service on one bill. Early termination, taxes, other charges, and restrictions apply. Speeds vary, not guaranteed.
She's coming. When I turn on the lights, yell surprise. Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Surprise!
Can't connect to internet.
It's so dark. Who's here? Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Can't connect to internet.
Ugh, the assistant's in a dead zone. It doesn't always connect.
We're all here, dear.
We got you a chocolate cake, but we can't pass you a knife in the dark.
Your home is only as smart as your internet. Get fast, seamless wall-to-wall coverage and reduce dead zones with AT&T Internet with smart Wi-Fi technology. Switch to AT&T Fiber. Sign up at att.com/fiber300 and get faster upload speeds of up to 300 megabits per second for $40 a month for 12 months. Limited availability may not be in your area. Check eligibility at att.com/fiber300. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. Ends 8/17/19. AT&T Wi-Fi gateway and smart Wi-Fi technology included with plans 12 megabits or higher. Extenders may be required and sold separately. New residential customers in select markets only. Requires 12-month agreement. Includes Internet 300 when bundled with other qualifying minimum $19 per month service on one bill. Early termination, taxes, other charges, and restrictions apply. Speeds vary, not guaranteed.
Wednesday on the 11th, The Reverend Ed Pinckney is going back to court. We want to fill up that courtroom over there in Michigan. Okay, if you live anywhere near that area. Now, I don't have the address right there, or even the time of the date. I have nothing in front of me tonight. Reverend Ed Pinckney is calling me up tomorrow if I can get some money on his account to pay for the phone calls. Okay, so we definitely do need a couple of bucks. If you could PayPal it to me tonight or tomorrow morning before 3 o'clock in the afternoon to get this going. My PayPal is oppermanreport@gmail.com. Okay. Now, one thing, too, I want to say about tonight's show, which is about Kraft International, is I'm not attempting to do an examination of whether the Boston bombing was a false flag or whether it was real, whether people were bombed or whether nobody was bombed. I'm trying to keep this presentation to you about this company, Kraft International LLC, out of Dallas, Texas, that many people today still believe. They will tell you, oh, they're the ones who did the Boston bombing, okay? And I can just about guarantee you, unless there was some kind of remarkable coincidence, that nobody from Kraft was in Boston that day, okay? Because there was only about 20 people. At the maximum, their listing of employees was 20 employees. Now, I would hazard to guess that most of the time there was only about 10 or 12 employees. And around the time of after Chris Kyle's death, there was nothing going on. There was no training going on whatsoever. Or their whole income was from the sale of those hats and ammo. That was it. Okay, so they were founded in 2009 as a tactical training company, which is totally different than doing bodyguard. If you're going to do bodyguard work or investigation work, you need special licensing for that, okay? Training, you can do. So this guy, Chris Kyle, he comes back from overseas. He's got a hit book, 37 weeks on the New York Times bestsellers list. And he gets involved, I guess, as a spokesperson with this FitGo Cares Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization that they created this thing called the Heroes Project to provide free in-home fitness equipment, okay, and personal training and life coaching to veterans with disabilities, okay. He was on a reality TV show, all right. So this guy, he's got his own stuff going on, okay? Even with, he owns this tactical training company. He's not there every day. This guy's pitching movie deals. This guy's pitching book deals. Okay, he's got his own more fun projects going on than going down to this, to train people who want to be mercenaries and stuff, and want to be bounty hunters. Now, the company, even before they went into bankruptcy, they ran into financial troubles, and it was a financial restructure. They brought in these investors, and one guy was this big venture capital guy who came in. But some of the other owners and investors that did this bailout were people like Roger Staubach, the football player, and Roger Staubach's son. Not Starbucks, the coffee, Roger Staubach, the football player. Okay? But there was this infusion of money to bail out this company. Even before he dies, okay? And the company was in total disarray. The revenue was only like $700,000 to be split up between 10 guys, right? And it came from the sale of ammunition and the hats and stuff like that. Their address was a virtual office. It wasn't even a real physical address. So in 2013, right before the Boston bombing, him and his buddy, they're going to give this guy some kind of therapy where they're going to take him to the guy had PTSD, and they were going to take him to a shooting range as therapy for him. All right. So I don't know what that was about. The trial was largely held on TV and stuff like that. I don't think there was anything suspicious with that. I think it was just what it was, that they had some guy who was a nut, He showed up at his sister's house. She said he was a basket case and he wasn't making sense. He was rambling and was having a breakdown. So the company, he dies in February 2013. By May 2014, the company's in bankruptcy. Okay. And just to give you an idea, when he died, the surviving partners, offered his wife $12,000 to buy her out of the company. And she, the estate, owned 85% of the company. So this was a company worth, like $20,000, man, divided up between 10 guys. They had a huge amount of debt. So there's no way that Kraft International anywhere on paper that you could describe this as being anything in the same ballpark as anything like Blackwater, first of all. But there's nothing to indicate whatsoever that they were off doing foreign or tactical work for the government, or even that they could afford to be flown to Boston and do an operation up there. It's not there. If the money's coming from hats. Okay? Now, to give you another idea, too, when I talk about this stuff, this is not some far-off land for me, because I've discussed before on the air that my partner, who started Accurate Information Recovery with me, when the company started out, we were doing, what do you call it? What's that called? Employment background screening, pre-employment screening, background checks. And he was NYPD Harbor Aviation, which is an elite NYPD group. A lot of the guys on there were former Navy SEALs, because what they had to do was they had to learn how to fly helicopters. They would jump out of helicopters and rappel down out of helicopters and drive boats, around New York City Harbor and dive in the water, recover evidence and stuff like that. Look for, when the president would come to town, they would dive under the water and see if there's any bombs under there and stuff like that. So this was an elite group that had access to every scanner that there was, the Secret Service scanner, the FBI scanner. They would sit and listen to everything, And so since a lot of the guys they worked with were former Navy SEALs, they had a little side operation going on where they would recruit cops that were getting fired, maybe had a DUI, going through a divorce or something like that, had some kind of, problems with the NYPD and had to get off. And they were recruiting them for Blackwater. And there was a nice finder's fee to find these guys. It was a couple of $1,000. So this was something that was common to us. This isn't some faraway world. Like a lot of people look at this and they say, oh, Blackwater, Kraft, it's the same thing. It's a kind of, they're sort of the same because it's a secret military kind of guys with guns doing stuff. Okay. And what I'm trying to tell you is this is not a foreign world to me. Okay. When I talk about my relationship, with these NYPD Harbor, all of them were at my wedding. All of these guys were at my bachelor party. I was at their bachelor parties. We've hung out. I know these people. So this whole world is nothing that's foreign to me. Okay. When I talk about this kind of stuff. Now, today, although Kraft has been out of business since 2014, all the main instructors for them have gone to another company in Arizona. And there's only about 10 or 12 of them. Okay? It's called TacFlow. It's the same company, same people, but they got a different company name and they're off in a different location. And the majority of the work they're doing, they don't do any kind of bodyguard work, no kind of investigative work, none of this overseas stuff like that. And mostly what they do is they train SWAT teams. Okay? No PI license, no bodyguard work, nothing like that. So now, the conclusion I want to leave you with here is for the people who still think that Kraft International, first of all, was somehow behind the Boston bombing. There is no evidence for that. Kraft International was not even there. That was the civilian, CST, National Guard guys, to begin with, the civil support teams, okay? And you could see them in the larger pictures. You can see them working with the cops, they had trucks there. And some of the scene, you see them with the vest that say CST on the back. So there's no doubt about that. Again, I don't want this to be a debate about a show about, do I think it was a false flag? Do I think it was crisis actors and all that? Okay, I did a show with Casey Gain about that, and he talked about some stuff that was never reported before, about some friends of his that were killed and beheaded down there, and then were later on killed by the FBI in questioning. A lot of strange stuff went on, and a lot of strange stuff that went on too that you don't see in other cases. Like this Ruslan, who was obviously CIA, lived with the CIA director, in his home, all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot more suspicious stuff in this case than there is in other things. Whether they're real bombs or not, who knows? We don't know, okay, because none of us were there. But my point is I want to dispel this myth about Kraft International, and I hope I've done that with this presentation. Let's see. Well, kind of ended short. Thought I had more to give you there. Let's see. Okay, one thing in the chat room, people are saying about how could they stage a whole event at a hospital. I can tell you this again because, my ex-wife is a nurse in the ICU, that they do stage, they have drills in hospitals. And they go in there, and sometimes the nurses think they're real. Okay? So I hate to get too... Yeah, right. The hats were Kraft International hats. The hats are for sale to anybody. Anybody can buy those hats. You can buy them off the website. You can still buy those hats for $30 today. So, yes, there was a couple of National Guard guys there that one guy had a Kraft hat on. Okay? But trust me, man, there is no way, okay, that that the government was hiring this little tiny company in Dallas, Texas, to go up and plant bombs up in, in Boston. It's not there. At a time when the company was bankrupt anyway, and when the owner of the company just got killed. So yeah, it's a hat, man. The hats are available to thousands. Anybody can buy those hats. Anybody can buy the hats. And maybe one of those guys just went down for training. The National Guard guys, they go for those kind of training things, Yeah, you know what? I would like to. There's a lot of people in my life that I would like to interview and get on here and stuff like that, but it's awkward in many different ways. For a lot of different reasons. Someone in the chat room said that I should interview my old partner then, and he has a ton of stories too, man. He was the last guy on Flight 800. When Sully, that wasn't 800, but that flight where Sully, the plane, and they landed that plane in New York Harbor, my partner was the last cop, the last person on that plane. And Sully came out and says, I'm the last person on the plane. He was the last person. Okay. I'm not sure what you saw in the member section today. You're asking about the member section. You saw some Trump stuff. We just put up a new section in the member section where we're going to have documents in there. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, yeah, right. We put one of those documents in there. Yeah, that lawsuit. That could be like a shot across the bow. There was a lawsuit was filed in the 26th in Riverside, California. I talked about this. I did a whole show about it a couple of weeks back. Because William Ramsey sent me that right before when I was live on the air. And so then we read it, and then we broadcast on it on the after show. The the complainant in that paperwork gave a fake address and a cell phone number that's disconnected. Now, other people are reporting that phone number last was in use at a dentist office, but my investigation of that phone number was it was the last use was on a cell phone. So, which I don't know if it's a dentist office or not. And no one...
She's coming. When I turn on the lights, yell surprise. Smart assistant, turn on lights.
Surprise!
Can't connect to internet.
It's so dark. Who's here? Smart assistant, turn on lights.
Can't connect to internet.
Ugh, the assistant's in a dead zone. It doesn't always connect.
We're all here, dear.
We got you a chocolate cake, but we can't pass you a knife in the dark.
Your home is only as smart as your internet. Get fast, seamless wall-to-wall coverage and reduce dead zones with AT&T Internet with smart Wi-Fi technology. Switch to AT&T Fiber. Sign up at att.com/fiber300 and get faster upload speeds of up to 300 megabits per second for $40 a month for 12 months. Limited availability. May not be in your area. Check eligibility at att.com/fiber300. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. Ends 8/17/19. AT&T Wi-Fi gateway and smart Wi-Fi technology included with plans 12 megabits or higher. Extenders may be required and sold separately. New residential customers in select markets only. Requires 12-month agreement. Includes Internet 300 when bundled with other qualifying minimum $19 per month service on one bill. Early termination, taxes, other charges, and restrictions apply. Speeds vary, not guaranteed.
She's coming. When I turn on the lights, yell surprise. Smart Assistant turn on lights.
Surprise!
Can't connect to internet.
It's so dark. Who's here? Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Can't connect to internet.
Ugh, the assistant's in a dead zone. It doesn't always connect.
We're all here, dear.
We got you a chocolate cake, but we can't pass you a knife in the dark.
Your home is only as smart as your internet. Get fast, seamless wall-to-wall coverage and reduce dead zones with AT&T Internet with smart Wi-Fi technology. Switch to AT&T Fiber. Sign up at att.com/fiber300 and get faster upload speeds of up to 300 megabits per second for $40 a month for 12 months. Limited availability. May not be in your area. Check eligibility at att.com/fiber300. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. Ends 8/17/19. AT&T Wi-Fi gateway and smart Wi-Fi technology included with plans 12 megabits or higher. Extenders may be required and sold separately. New residential customers in select markets only. Requires 12-month agreement. Includes Internet 300 when bundled with other qualifying minimum $19 per month service on one bill. Early termination, taxes, other charges, and restrictions apply. Speeds vary, not guaranteed.
Does either. Okay. When it comes to that kind of stuff, phone number investigations and phone records and stuff like that, I can testify. I'm an expert. I can testify that's how I got started. Okay. And also, too, I wrote an article called How to Obtain Cell Phone Records. And this is before I ever did a radio show or anything like that. I wrote the article back in 2005. That article got over 500,000 hits the first time it was run, and it's been rerun on hundreds and hundreds of blogs all over the place. A lot of people read that article. So the Trump litigation, it was filed pro se by a woman named Katie Johnson, which is a very common name. You're not going to find. I looked it up too. There's 24 Katie Johnsons in Riverside County, California, that fit the age range. Okay, which is good enough to make it difficult to find. So there's a lot of stuff described in the complaint, and the complaint alleges sexual abuse by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein in concert together, right? There's a lot of stuff in there that has the ring of truth. I'll say that. It also cites the wrong laws. You know, it's flawed from start to finish. Fake name, fake address, fake phone number, citing the wrong laws. It was meant to be thrown out. But something like that is like a shot across the bow, or could be used as a shot across the bow. Okay? Oh, because it mentions, too, that there's a witness who's ready to make a statement. All right? Now, I've been involved in some cases where that kind of stuff is done. Like, if I would have... Okay, watch this now. If I would have filed a lawsuit against Trump and Epstein at this point, a crap storm is going to come down on my head. Right? But if I file this thing, now I got their attention. Now I contact them with a real lawyer and say, hey, you know what? That was my client. And we're about to file a lawyer, but we actually have that witness who was the party planner that knows everything that went on. We want $100,000. We want, $1 million. We want $10 million. Okay, that's something, because you don't want to, file it, because then you can't. Now you're in court. You just want to threaten to file it. Am I making sense? You guys understand what I'm talking about? So anyway, that's a distinct possibility that it was a shot across the bow as a threat to Trump and Epstein to pay up, because there will be a real lawsuit filed with real names. But as it stands right now, it was thrown out of court, and we don't know. But there's a new document section in the Opperman report, the member section, where I have all, I haven't had a chance to get them over to... I haven't had a chance to get them over to the guys, Sean Duff and them, to put up on the website. But I have 13 PDFs of all the paperwork in the Trump University lawsuits. I have all of that. I have all the documents in the DOJ versus Apple computer for the iPhone thing. I have all that. I have a lot of stuff that I would love to share with people. I have copies of the litigation with about that slave, the girl who was with Trump modeling agency. I love reading that kind of stuff. When I can get my hands on something like that, I devour that man right away. So and I wanted to see. I really wanted to do a real investigation on Kraft International and get their bankruptcy records and stuff like that, and get all the incorporation dates and stuff, and get all that stuff and put that in the members section. But to do all that, it would cost a couple $100. Yeah, we're trying to build up the OppermanReport.com member section with more content for you, police reports and stuff. Whatever I can get my hands on. Like I got that letter. I have a handwritten letter. I got a couple of them. I have a handwritten letter from that guy who the serial killer, Glenn Rogers, I think his name is, who claims that he killed Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman. All kinds of documents I got on that. I have a letter. It's a photograph of a letter, a handwritten letter by Drew Peterson from prison, where he talks about paying off the DA's office. No one see that. I'm the only one that has that. No one else has that at all. So I got a lot of stuff, interesting things I can put in there. Yeah. Drew Peterson. Yeah. So anyway, we'll be doing all that for you. Let's see. 53 minutes. I had to kill 7 minutes. All right. Let's see. What else? Well, what did we talk about? We talked about Agenda 21. We talked about tomorrow's show is going to be, it's a shame too, because I'm kind of sad about tomorrow's show, because we're doing a show about Atlanta child murders. And I love Cisco Street Love so much, man. He was such a cool guy. Always so polite and, great research and stuff. I was contacted by some people that are doing a film about the Atlanta child murders, and they wanted me to put them in touch with Cisco. I told them he's passed on. We don't have him anymore. And it's really a shame. So tomorrow's going to be kind of bittersweet to do that show. So anyway, these guys are all excited because they want to be in touch with Cynthia McKinney. Cynthia McKinney, we are scheduled. She's going to be coming on 2 Saturdays from now on the 21st. We're going to be discussing the Clintons and what they've done in Haiti, which is basically repeatedly overthrow the governments down there and keep the people down there in poverty and all kinds of horrible conditions down there, just milking that country dry. And, she's done her thesis on COINTELPRO. The show today with Ward Churchill, the plan was to get into, to do it about COINTELPRO, because he's written 2 books about that. And also he's written this excellent document, like a thesis or an essay, you might call it, about the... What is it called? Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Because it is really good. You should look it up. It's about the Red Army faction. And the use of... okay, so I can find it here real quick. Show about Kraft International. Look at that. Okay. The necessity of armed struggle... come on. Reflections on the RAF and the questions of moving forward. Okay. And it's all about, is it justified to use armed struggle like the Red Army faction did and all those groups back in the 70s and 80s and stuff like that? There's a couple of good movies about the Red Army faction. I think there's a couple of good books, but very, very little. And I've tried to get a couple of guests to come on, and the only one I could find was Ward Churchill. So, and this is a fascinating group that... between the Bider-Meinhof gang and the Red Army faction back in the 70s and all over Europe doing bank robberies. They did like 20 bank robberies in one day, a coordinated effort. And at one point in Germany, they did a poll, and 12% of the country supported these people in their revolutionary actions. So very interesting time and activities there. I will definitely be doing more shows about the West Memphis 3. Don't worry about that. That's not going away. As a matter of fact, we just no, that was something else. William Ramsey's doing a killer job looking up gaps, man. You have no idea what this guy's doing. Incredible stuff. We're trying to get some experts. I had an expert on those bite marks. He fell through because when he saw all the craziness that goes on with the supporters. But I'm working on an expert to evaluate Exhibit 500 and give an expert opinion on that. A lot of stuff I'm working on, guys. But William Ramsey, yeah, he got a hold of from McMartin Preschool, the guy who did the tunnel report. The archaeologist who did the tunnel report on the McMartin Preschool. But we couldn't get him to come on the show. And other things. I had a lot of disappointments this week. A lot of setbacks this week. We're all really bad. My rent's getting raised. Yeah. Oh, God, I didn't even tell Vic about that yet. But, yeah, they're raising her rent. Damn. You know. Everything was really looking up there for us. Oh, boy. Okay, so it's, you know what? Don't forget to tune in tomorrow. And also, too, a lot of these stations. By the way, tonight, this after show tonight is the first one that's been covered. Every station's carrying it. They're on for the first time. I used to have to turn a bunch of them off, but now I can just coast right through the show without turning anything off. And a lot of people, too, want me to do an after show on Saturdays. So we'll see how that goes. Or just whatever interests me. You know, how do you choose cases to review? Just whatever I find interesting. I try and keep the topics, because I got to be able to ask questions. You know? Otherwise, you know, I don't care, you know. So I try and pick topics that that I'm interested in, you know, and then bring on guests that are interesting. I think that's the trick. All right, guys, listen, thank you so much. I'm sorry that my Craft International stuff, I think it was kind of boring for people, but I think it's an important thing to get on the record out there, that there's no way this is any kind of international... because, you know, I forgot to mention, too, because people are trying to claim that the Kraft did San Bernardino 10 years after they're out of business. You know, that kind of insanity. So, anyway. All right, guys. Got to go. Love you. See you next week. Don't forget, if you can shoot us some money for what he called good old Reverend Pinckney to get that show going for that tomorrow, that would be a big, big help. OppermanReport@gmail.com. Thank you. Good night.
She's coming. When I turn on the lights, yell surprise. Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Surprise!
Can't connect to internet.
It's so dark. Who's here? Smart Assistant, turn on lights.
Can't connect to internet.
Ugh, the assistant's in a dead zone. It doesn't always connect.
We're all here, dear.
We got you a chocolate cake, but we can't pass you a knife in the dark.
Your home is only as smart as your internet. Get fast, seamless wall-to-wall coverage and reduce dead zones with AT&T Internet with smart Wi-Fi technology. Switch to AT&T Fiber. Sign up at att.com/fiber300 and get faster upload speeds of up to 300 megabits per second for $40 a month for 12 months. Limited availability. May not be in your area. Check eligibility at att.com/fiber300. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. Ends 8/17/19. AT&T Wi-Fi gateway and smart Wi-Fi technology included with plans 12 megabits or higher. Extenders may be required and sold separately. New residential customers in select markets only. Requires 12-month agreement. Includes Internet 300 when bundled with other qualifying minimum $19 per month service on one bill. Early termination, taxes, other charges, and restrictions apply. Speeds vary, not guaranteed.
Here it comes again. Lunch. Will it be the same old, same old? Or are you ready to take a vacation from the ordinary with the new Jamaican Jerk Turkey Sub at Firehouse Subs? Freshly sliced smoked turkey breast, craveably sweet mustard sauce, and a hint of Caribbean seasoning. Just $5.55 for a medium. Save time. Order the new Jamaican Jerk Turkey Sub on the Firehouse Subs app. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs. Save more lives. Participating locations. Limited time only, plus tax. Prices may vary for delivery.